What's going on, everybody? This is the Hello and Welcome podcast presented by Betway. This is the Canada Basketball Reaction Podcast. After Canada goes 3-0, group of death, they said Canada actually killed them all. That's the group of death right there because they secured their third victory. Not easy. It's literally never easy against Spain. I have so much respect to this program. 88 to 85. This might be the last time you see guys like Rudy Fernandez. Actually, he did say he's going to retire. Sergio Yul, you never know, but honestly, like, look at him, man. He could still hoop, clearly. He was still throwing lots of dagger threes at Canada, including the big three at the end there to make it a 1-point game. But Shai comes up clutch, hits both free throws. After having a couple of unorthodox issues with the free throws over the course of the game, he did miss 4. But the more important thing is he went to the foul line 13 times. I'm sure Spain will be complaining about that. They built their whole defense around trying to stop Shai. And for people who are familiar, obviously, with Sergio Scariolo from his time with the Raptors, I think 3 seasons as an assistant, including the championship season, very innovative coach. And when you watch the tactics from the other side, you see remnants of 2019. You see a guy who is running box and one, and he ran plenty of box and one against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He ran plenty of zone, a lot of 3-2 zone against Canada as well. A guy who went super deep into his bench, ultimately closing with his third unit, and those guys were the most productive. I mean, guys that you've heard of in terms of like the Hernan Gomez brothers or Santi Aldama or Lorenzo Brown. These guys weren't doing anything. Even like Rudy Fernandez. I mean, he actually got hurt the last game. It's actually surprising that he even played. But of course, this might be his last game. So, like, I guess you go out there and do whatever you can. But he wasn't really effective, potentially due to the injury. And then you got Yule as well. These are the guys you've heard of. But the guys who end up torching Canada towards the end there in the second half, in the fourth quarter, was Jaime Perdilla, the center, number 4, right? Just offensive rebound after putback, all those sorts of stuff, using his size against Canada's mismatches. And reason why Canada conceded so many mismatches because Dario Brizuela, who, like, I don't know, man. You got to be a real hardcore hoop fan to know who this is. But 17 points off the bench, third unit. Again, he wasn't even in the rotation in the first half, it felt like, but, he came off the bench and he was knocking down threes. Then he was going to the cup, super fearless, knocking down like super contested shots over elite defenders, over like Dylan Brooks, over like, Nembhard, over like, Lou Dort. These guys were giving such problems to the point where Canada was switching quite a bit to try to neutralize him going downhill or even getting threes off. But then he was throwing high-low passes to Perdilla, who was hitting shots around the basket. It was just a nightmare to play against Spain, who had 29 points in the fourth quarter after basically like not being able to score for the first 3 quarters. We have the group chat where I was talking to Jerome, and Jerome's like, yo, I don't know if I'm that worried about Spain. And I'm like, yo, this is the ultimate rope-a-dope team. They will throw junk at you. They will throw a million threes up. That's how they beat Greece. Because honestly, Greece was better than this team too. They obviously had Giannis. They had a lot of advantages. They had big lead. All of a sudden, Spain just knocks down 3 after 3 after 3. Last game, it was Sergio Yul. This game is Brizuela. I got a lot of respect to this team. But this is not about them. This is about Canada. Because Canada also played an even better game. This reminded me so much of last year where Canada played Spain, and it was actually the same result in terms of Canada getting the win. It was the same result with Canada winning 88 to 85, and it was also, some heroics from Shai at the end. Now, of course, last time Canada had to come back, and I felt like Spain actually was operating like the better team. To me, even though the result was the same, I think it was actually really impressive to me that Canada was able to take the lead, right? They led by 11 at halftime thanks to a 30-19 advantage in the second quarter. They were able to, solve a lot of what Spain was throwing at them, their zone. Before they went box and one, their regular 3-2 zone was getting picked apart. I thought Canada did a really good job of bringing in guys in the right moments. Kelly Olynyk at 5 was a nice adjustment by Jordi Fernandez against his former boss, Sergio Scariolo. Jordi had worked actually for Team Spain as an assistant for Sergio as well, so I'm sure it's sweet that he's been able to beat him twice now. But yeah, I mean, getting Kelly in there at 5, right, to counter some of the zones. Obviously, he's a really good decision maker. Getting a lot of guards out there as well in their rotation. Another game where he went really deep into his bench. In fact, he actually even gave Melvin Ejim, who had yet to play so far, who is the 12th man. Even he got in for 10 seconds as a cameo at the end of the first quarter to just guard 10 seconds of defense, I guess. But like Ken Birch got in the game once again. Trey Lyles just continues to be, tremendously underwhelming. Kelly Olynyk, quite frankly, has also been tremendously underwhelming. In the second half, when they went to Kelly a little bit more, Spain did an amazing job of attacking Kelly over and over again. And quite frankly, Kelly had a lot of opportunities to score in the short roll where he, obviously a double team or, just extra defensive attention on the perimeter against Shai, against like Nembhard, against Jamal Murray. And it was Kelly in the middle of the floor trying to make decisions, and usually he's really good at that, but he was traveling today. He was turning the ball over. He was committing fouls. I mean, the Spanish team was also flopping like crazy, too, to get these calls. But, again, what are you going to do? Like, they literally, if they lose, they're out, right? So, I think so. I think that if they lose, they're out. To be honest, it's quite confusing with only 3 games and multiple pools. But basically, they needed to win this game, and they're down. But, like, Kelly wasn't really doing much. But the adjustments over the course of the game, I thought just were really timely. I thought even the decision to sort of go, with Jamal, with Nikhil, with Andrew in that combination off the bench, I thought they all played their roles better. I know Jamal still continues to not really be able to score, right? Only 4 points tonight, but 5 assists once again in the second unit. And I just thought he touched the paint a lot more. Now, I think the next step, now that he's getting to the paint, is to either finish at the paint or to make the right kick out passes, because today you saw him drive into the paint with some like blind behind the back passes. But all that was kind of made up for by the fact that Andrew Nembhard provided his best game of the tournament by far, probably his best game for Canada, period, because he came off the bench today and Canada's offense was actually quite sluggish. I thought the starters just didn't have good like ball movement, didn't really have good like perimeter, cutting and all that kind of stuff. And so, the starters who typically get Canada off the big leads, right? Like they did against, Australia, like they did. Well, actually, not Australia, actually. That they fouled trouble, but like they did against Greece, for example. The starters usually set the tone, but today the starters were not really moving the ball that well. You saw like just an overall sluggishness in the offense. Like RJ, for example, is a guy who really benefits off ball movement, and you saw that take place towards the second half. But in the first half, he wasn't really being able to get to his spots. Dylan Brooks creates a little bit on his own, but he wasn't really scoring as much either. And then Lou Dort, who is kind of the ultimate bellwether, because he's honestly he's kind of like the fifth option sometimes, right? Because Dwight Powell, depending on how the opponents want to play it, if they're using the bigs to double team Canada's guards, Dwight Powell is actually quite free, and so if they they slip the ball to him, he's actually rolling and he's actually more of a focus. Lou Dort basically just getting wide open catch and shoot threes, but he only got 2 shots all game, right? So it's stuff like that where it's like it wasn't strong ball movement. It was actually Andrew Nembhard who I thought broke it open for Canada. He knocked down 2 threes, a super contested one at the end of the clock over like a double team, and then a super quick fire 3 from the corner in the first half. Those 2 threes really got Canada going and kind of spiraled. Canada really got their offense off 30 points in the second quarter. Once again, their starters just wasn't strong in the third quarter as well. I thought for that one, just a lot more missed opportunities, right? You had like RJ missing, chances. You had, Dylan Brooks missing a wide open 3. He took too long to think about it, even though he could just fire. I mean, he's been shooting like crazy. Dylan missing a layup, just small things like that where it's just like they just weren't fully capitalizing. I thought they got better looks than they did in the first quarter, but the starters just wasn't as strong. And then, luckily, though, Canada's defense was there, right? They're able to ball pressure, all that kind of stuff. The thing that was difficult with this one was just like, I thought the Spanish guards did a better job of handling on the most part. Like, I thought, for example, against Australia, Canada did an amazing job of overwhelming Josh Giddey and forcing him into turnovers in the second half. And that cut off his aggression. And he was sort of the main driving force, literally, because he was driving the ball so much, getting downhill and creating problems. But second half, Canada did a really good job of using their ball pressure to overwhelm him. I thought in the Greece game, they did a really good job against Nick Kalathis and Thomas Walkup. Those guards aren't particularly strong, although they did hit some big threes today, though. So salute to them, I guess. But because Greece finally got their one win, which might honestly be enough to get them through. I don't know. It's too confusing. There's like a bunch of teams that are 1 and 2. But I think for in those games, you really saw the ball pressure get to them. I mean, it's not like Canada didn't get plenty of steals against Spain and take it the other way. I thought, at times when Shai was guarding Sergio Llull, Sergio was trying to bring the ball up. I mean, Sergio's like 38. Shai is like MVP. Like, at times it looked like elder abuse just watching the two of them go at it. Shai was really getting the better of him a couple times, stripping him. And Sergio's obviously like a super experienced, like as experienced as it gets, really, point guard, and he's trying to bring it up. But I thought Shai picked him a couple times. But for the most part, especially down the stretch, I mean, you didn't really feel Canada's defensive pressure in the same way. In fact, I thought Spain was able to elevate their offense to a huge degree, and they had chances. I mean, we might look at it right now and say, well, Spain threw up a bunch of like threes and that kind of kept them in the game. But they only shot 10 of 36 from three ultimately. Like the last game, I think they shot like 17 of 36. You know what I mean? Like, so, there was a bit of variance. But at the same time, like, this is kind of what this team can do. I thought for the most part, though, the starters did a really good job of keeping guys like Santi Aldama really quiet. He can be really, really dangerous in these FIBA settings. I think he was really good against Canada last year in the World Cup. Today, only 7 points. I thought Dylan Brooks guarded him really well outside of fouling him for a three. I think Lorenzo Brown just wasn't really able to get his game off, quite frankly. Had 5 turnovers as well. Just eventually he was benched. But I don't know. Like Spain just found a way, because again, you look at the roster on paper and you're telling me that Nembhard played well, that Shai played pretty good, that Canada did a decent job overall, shot 53% from the field, and it's still a 3-point game. But that's the thing, they find ways. And for Spain, it was 17 offensive rebounds. It was getting those threes up. It was finding their third unit guys. It was throwing junk defenses. Again, the box and one, basically forcing Shai to beat 5 guys potentially going to the hoop. And I thought at times Shai was trying to do it so hard that it was forcing him to take super difficult shots. And of course, we know he can do really hard shots and all that kind of stuff. But if we're going to be completely honest, he also got bailed out at a couple calls, because it could have been easily, like, if they swallowed the whistle even one time against Shai, all of a sudden Canada might be in a position where they gave up the lead. You know what I mean? So they clearly threw literally 5 guys at Shai. Like, the box and one is 1 guy guarding the ball and then 4 guys basically, standing at the elbow, 2 guys standing at the elbow, 2 guys standing on the baseline, basically all ready to collapse. And that's all in an effort to take away Shai. And of course, you might say, well, they could kick out for 3 and all that kind of stuff, but that's not necessarily so easy, except for the fact that that's exactly what happened, right? Spain had so it was a minute left, and Shai was trying to go one-on-one and ultimately ended up throwing up a bad shot. Not only did it end up throwing up a bad step-back 3, but he kicked his leg out, ended up fouling Alex Abrinas, who was closing out on him. I guess maybe they were former OKC teammates, but Abrinas used to be on OKC for a cup of coffee. But Shai gets called for the kickout against Abrinas. Canada's in the bonus, or Spain's in the bonus, so they actually go to the free throw line. Abrinas is a pretty good shooter overall. That's his job, but he misses his second free throw. I think that made it a 2-point game. And going back the other way, I thought Canada did something really smart, which honestly, if other teams look at Spain and try to use the same strategy against Canada, they would be very smart to do so. And therefore, it'd be very smart for Canada to counter a lot of what Spain threw at them today. So you saw, for example, Spain was really trying to, throw the box and one. Eventually down the stretch, though, they were kind of playing more switching, and they were trying to obviously bring a crowd against Shai, but not as dramatic as a box and one. And there was one key possession where Shai is trying to set up the offense, and Canada is trying to decide who they're going to bring to screen. Is it going to be like Andrew Nembhard, who was primarily the leading scorer here for Canada, and he was awesome, 8 of 10 for 18 points. Shouts to friend of the program, Andrew Nembhard. But, are you going to bring him into the screen to make a small pick and roll? Or are you going to go and get Dwight Powell into the screen to sort of get Shai to attack a big? Or are you going to get, like a pin down for, like a Spain pick and roll? Like, basically like you screen the screener type of action kind of thing. Like, and in the midst of all that, Spain was like really trying to communicate off ball. Okay, we're going to switch. We're going to pre-switch a lot of the matchups. So, like, for example, if Dwight Powell was going to come set the screen, which it looked like that was ultimately was the decision, they were trying to pre-switch so that it wasn't like a big following Dwight Powell. It was another guard coming to with Dwight Powell so that they can switch or double team more, effectively with the 2 perimeter players against Shai. Shai sees this like slight moment of indecision, and he just goes without actually using any of the screen in the first place. Like, everybody's focused on who's going to screen, what kind of way, who's going to switch. Shai just goes, gets past this man, gets into the paint, and the defense shrinks, collapses in that moment, and all of a sudden, Shai kicks it out to RJ in the left corner. And RJ Barrett, after not making a 3 the whole game, and not taking a three the whole game, confidently, catches and shoots from the corner and knocks it down. That was, to me, the biggest shot of the game, because Spain was making this gigantic push, and they were, they had all the momentum. They had the number 4, the big Padilla. He was, getting putbacks and keeping possessions alive. They had Yule, who's always good for a miracle shot. They had Brizuela, who was, also knocking down a bunch of threes and being super dangerous. Like, he turned it to Steph Curry for the fourth quarter. It was quite annoying, I gotta say, as a Canadian fan. But in all their adventures in, trying to sort of like junk up the game and make the comeback, Shai makes a decisive drive, kicks it out to RJ, and RJ knocks on that three. Not only does it make it from a 2 to a 5-point game in the last minute, which obviously is a huge change, but I thought, to me, it was just a big gut punch towards Spain, because that's the move that they needed. That was the stop that they needed. If they got that one stop, if RJ missed that three, things would be very different. But in the infamous words of Kanye West, I guess we'll never know, because Canada knocked down the three, obviously, with RJ. They knocked down the threes with Andrew Nembhard, who, knocked down 2 threes, but another one early in the fourth quarter as well, where he had a foot on the line. But I thought he did a really good job of just quick releasing the threes when he got them. Him and Jamal, especially with Jamal obviously being the main point guard, Andrew's going to hit the off ball, and he's just to be confident shooting it. And that's what I like about him today. Like, he was confident. Obviously, he knocked down that one buzzer beater. Whatever, you're going to have to get a shot up, and he made it. It was great. But, like, the 2 corner threes that he made, and I'm counting the other one with the foot on the line, those were, like, super quick. Catch and shoot, like, in and out of his hands immediately. Like, no hesitation. Like, that's what we needed, especially in this game where Canada really couldn't get to the paint. Spain did an amazing job of really shutting things down. The reason Canada only got 17 three-point attempts is because Spain did a really good job of keeping Canada out of the paint. And, that's something that clearly was a success for Spain's defense, because, Canada's stated interest is to get up like 43s. So to hold them to 17 is a really, really impressive feat by the defense. And it was really just how much they were able to junk up the game. Now, of course, part of junking up the game is that they ended up always swarming the ball, and they, committed a bunch of fouls. And I'm pretty sure I'll hear some Spanish griping about that on that front. Honestly, they have some legitimate gripes. Like, seriously, the Canada did get bailed out by the whistle more than a few times. They shot 25 foul shots here, including 13 for Shai. But yeah, I mean, I thought, yeah, Nembhard is going to have to be able to catch and shoot, and he can do it. He's confident. He knocked those down from Jamal. But I also thought that Andrew did a really good job of getting to his own shot. Like, his overall aggressiveness was so more decisive today, right? Much more physical. There's one play in the third quarter, I believe, where Andrew ripped down the rebound, took it coast to coast, tucked it under his shoulder, and drove through like 2 defenders and finished strong at the basket for the layup. Basically like RJ Barrett style. And what did I say after the podcast was just like, look, I know they beat Australia. I know they beat Greece. Those were the tight games, but I needed the bench to play way more physical. And I thought Andrew played super physical, super aggressive. And especially in moments where they were like playing box and one against Shai. Well, the good thing with box and one is that if you have other creators, if you're not just one guy who can create, right? Which obviously in years past, it was basically just Shai who can create. Dylan, you can like hope that he scores, right? Archie, you can hope that he scores, but it was basically like Shai is the guy and they're selling out to guard Shai. So they're boxing and one against Shai. Well, the good thing with box and one is that, okay, if you give it to someone else who can score, there's very little help defense, because the box is going to still like stay relatively in their positions, so to speak. So you got to play a lot more one-on-one off the ball. And that's where I thought Nembhard did a really good job of getting to in-between shots, short jumpers, little jump hooks, things like that, taking it cut strong to the cup, and I thought RJ, had a turn doing that as well. There was a really smart play call by Jordy after a timeout early in the fourth quarter where they got the ball to Dylan on the wing. They set an off-ball screen for RJ to curl towards the basket. Dylan with a nice pass to RJ, and RJ finishing at the bucket over top of a longer defender. That was a really good call by the coach there. I thought Dylan Brooks took it in a couple times as well. He's pretty good for those drives. So they found enough offense. And ultimately, you might say, well, again, like, Spain did a really good job defensively. Canada still shot 53%, and they still went to the foul line 25 times. And that's ultimately where, Canada was able to win this game. A little bit on the possession battle, too, with the turnovers. Canada forcing 15 because of their great ball pressure, and Canada only committing 10. Of course, Spain countered that by using their size against Canada's small players. Like, it was just a really, really good tactical matchup. And, like for me, that's always what's impressed me about Sergio Scariolo. He's always been a guy who has been really creative with this. But I think Jordy's got a couple tricks of his own, and of course Jordy's playing with like more of a stacked deck. Let's be honest, right? Jordy with the hand that he's been dealt, like this is. I mean, Shai's not quite pocket aces. I would say like USA got pocket aces, but Shai is at least an ace, man. We got like an ace. We got like an ace queen type of hand right now. And it's suited. It's looking more and more suited to this day. So, you probably want to go in there and play a little bit more aggressively. But still, when you get into the game, when you get punched in the face and you're not just crying and quitting after one punch like certain competitors, you actually need to like get into the weeds and figure it out. And it's never easy against Spain. Like it's literally never easy against this team. I know you can look at it on paper and you would never say Canada should only win by 3. But that's just how it is against these guys. And they had to figure it out. And you tried a bunch of combinations. And once again, I think the starting lineup, they finished the game. Well, actually, I don't even know, to be honest. I think it's hard to get plus-minus data. Just, I don't know. I'm only looking at the ESPN one. It doesn't have that. But, like, I feel like the starters are not good, like, plus-minus wise. They didn't really start the game well. They didn't start the third quarter well. In the fourth quarter, to be honest, Spain was making a comeback. So I didn't think that they did the most on that front. But, you saw some offense, defense as well with Lou Dort and RJ. I think that's a smart idea. You also saw some good substitutions with Jamal coming in late in the game. We saw that against Greece as well, where you need your best free throw shooters on the floor. I think when you take a step back too, and of course, a reminder to everybody, I will be taking questions like the other live streams as well. So if you have questions in the chat, our producers, Jerome and Alex are in there and they're looking to get the questions. I have also requested producer Alex to not be in bed and to actually be ready on camera. So when we go to him, he'll have his 3 bars, because we're going to get the 3 stars, but we're going to get the 3 bars as well, because he did promise that he's going to bar up these Spanish players after Canada gets the win. But like that's, if I take a step back and think about the bigger picture, like this is also a really like unselfish team. This is something that I saw Wes Brown point out on Twitter as well. Shouts to him. Thanks for the hat, by the way. Shouts to Mondays. But like, yeah, he pointed out just like how well coached the group is, but how unselfish the group is. Because like you think about it, you look at USA, right? And of course USA is its own thing. It's like literally a traveling circus in its way. It's like it's a spectacle, not a circus. A circus is a little rude, but it's like a spectacle. Everyone's looking at Team USA. Everyone's whatever. Obviously Canada doesn't have the same level of talent, the same level of pedigree, the same level of accomplishments. We understand that, right? But you look at Team USA, they're winning every game, and it's like, oh, let's make fun of Joel Embiid, which I do personally enjoy, to be clear. Let's make fun of Jason Tatum, which I also do personally agree. But like, you know what I mean? It's like, even if they're winning by 30, they're finding controversies and, it's a whole thing, right? And it's like, okay, well, we bench Tatum one game and he doesn't play. The next game he's starting. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, it's all that stuff. Meanwhile, for Canada, it's no egos. You're not hearing a peep out of these guys, right? Jamal Murray, with all the accomplishments he's got, right? Like, how many champions are on this team, right? You look at it, like, yeah, Shai's really accomplished, but he's not a champion. Lou Dort, same thing. RJ, same thing. Dwight Powell, been playing in the league for a long time, not a champion. Dylan Brooks, not a champion, right? All these guys, you go up and down the list, not champions. The one champion they got is Jamal Murray, and he's coming off the bench. You're not hearing a peep out of that. You know what I mean? And when Jamal was asked about it, I saw there's not a lot of Canadian media down there for the Canada basketball, which is a interesting but also not surprising decision made by the head media there, right? Because and by heads of media I mean the big companies, because seriously, like, where are reporters, right? CBC's there. I salute CBC, right? I salute City News. Lindsay Dunn's there. She'll be providing more coverage as well. But how is there? You can't even get post-game quotes out of these guys half the time. You got to go to like really great European reporters like Donatas Urbonas from Basket News to get to get the actual quotes from this team. It's hard to find even post-game quotes. And if I don't know, maybe I'm just not finding them. If someone has them, please send it to me, because I really want to know what these guys are saying about the games. But like, there's not that much investment by Canadian media to even send people down there, right? Are you even seeing radio shows about this? You're not. And that's really disappointing, because we've already shown you, even last year, after they went to the World Cup and they got the bronze in a way that was so thrilling, that this is worthy of investing. This is worthy of sending reporters down there. It's a great story to cover. And yet we're still not seeing that movement. I know these guys aren't busy in August. They're all watching these games like we all are. But that's just putting that aside. That's a personal gripe of mine. But like, the one time Jamal was actually asked about this was by Ariel Hawani, he's down there with CBC, and Jamal's just like, no egos, nothing. It's like he just shut the whole idea down. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give my very best out there, and I feel like Jamal is building up a little bit better and better. Andrew Nembhard stepped up today. He could easily have a case to play more minutes. You don't hear any sort of complaints there. Kelly Olynyk's the captain of this team for like literally forever. Literally the captain right now, co-captain with Dwight Powell. He gets benched most games. Doesn't even matter. It's not about that. It's not about anything other than just coming home with a medal and ideally a gold medal. And you've seen how unselfish this group is, man. RJ Barrett is like literally, he just had a huge play in the fourth quarter where he boxed out a bigger player, got the foul call. Spain's, put Canada in the bonus. He goes to the foul line, makes the free throws, and then they sub him out for offense defense. No complaints. No drama. No BS with this team. And of course, in crunch time, no question who's going to go to. It's going to go to Shai. Was he having the most amazing game? No. I thought Spain did an amazing job guarding him over the course of the game. But who do you want with the game on the line, inbounding, up one, right? You got to make both free throws. Who do you want the ball to get to? It's Shai. And he goes to the foul line, and yeah, he missed 4. He makes both of them, and all of a sudden Canada's safe, So I just think it's been so good. It's been so healthy, and I just feel like a great amount of joy and pride watching this team. They're so fun to watch. All the games are obviously really tight and heavily contested, but Canada, again, like this was the group of death. Canada's not going to be one of the top. Even though Canada's going to finish 3-0, there's going to be other teams that finish 3-0, right? Let's be honest. USA is finishing 3-0. And the other team finishing 3-0 is going to be the winner between France and Germany, which takes place later today at 3 p.m. I will be there no matter what type of deal. I will be watching that one as well. But like one of those two guys, whoever wins between Spain and France, not Spain and France, Germany and France is going to be 3-0 as well. Those teams get to play lower tier competition, which I'm not trying to be rude to Japan, but like let's say if Japan was in this group, Canada probably beat Japan by like 20 points, and then you buff up the point differential, right? Because that's the only thing separating Canada with these other teams is they don't have a great point differential. Even though they won 3 games, they're all like close-ish. They beat Australia by 10, they beat Greece by They beat Greece by 7, and they beat Spain by 3 here, so they're plus 20. But that's the thing; those other teams can just beat any team by plus 20 because they got like some softer competition on their groups. That's the other downside of being in the group of death. But I think the strength is you've been tested, right? All 3 of these teams, like I don't want it to be taken for granted. I know you could look at the roster, you could look at the hype and say, well, of course, like Canada should be ahead of these teams. But historically, Spain is a motherfucker to play in basketball, right? In any sports, it feels like, because they're also winning every single soccer competition that they're in. They're amazing in tennis. Like they're just a great sporting nation across the board. You have Australia, who have 9 NBA players in their roster, right? And, they don't play as many of their veterans anymore, but they're still tough as hell to play. Then you got Greece with Giannis and a decent-ish supporting core around them. Although I got to say they have not performed so far in this Olympics. But years past, we would have struggled with these type of matchups. And the fact that Canada is getting through these now, the fact that they're able to execute and play well and they're healthy and they're managing the minutes. I thought Jordy did a good job managing the minutes too in this one, buying time in the first half, riding the high a little bit, of sort of keeping Canada in the front, and then of course saving his starters so that they can close out. And they didn't close out strong, but they closed out enough to get the result. I think everything's gone really well so far, and I don't want us to take that for granted, even though we feel like Canada should just be walking in here and getting these wins. Like, I want to show them the program, the I don't know, the respect that they deserve. You know what I mean? And honestly, like, my personal gripe is just let's get more actual coverage of this team, not from all of us on the internet, which is great, but like seriously, like it's a huge story, man. Canada basketball is finally here after 24 years with this star-studded roster, and they're getting these tight results, and they're all these great storylines, and we don't get to hear none of it, right? So, like, please, Canadian media, invest in basketball coverage. That's my gripe, and that's not directed to anybody in particular. I think because everyone's equally guilty. Okay, let's take some questions, and then we'll go to the 3 stars. We have producer Alex. You're going to send a question up here. Here we go. Brandon Bernard. Hey, Will, how can Canada address this defensive rebounding? Feels like we couldn't get one. Yeah, I mean it's difficult. Obviously, Canada went smaller, right? In part to just counteract what Spain was trying to do offensively in the fourth quarter, which was their guard play in Dario Brizuela, who was either getting downhill or knocking down threes. It was trying to neutralize a guy like Alex Abrinas, who's a really good catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. And, of course, Sergio Llull is a guy who can definitely get some threes up. So, their threats are coming from the perimeter. So Canada decided to go smaller, and they're switching a lot, too, to sort of like cut off drives from going downhill. But of course, Spain is really smart with that, and so they were pinning, and they were crashing their glass hard. They were also down too, so obviously they have more incentive to sort of get to the glass. That's not an excuse for Canada, right? Like I think for Canada, like they could be a little bit tougher. Some of those are like kind of 50-50 balls, right? The one that was the last offensive rebound where Sergio Llull missed the early three, but then there was like two tips on the ball, and ultimately went right back to Llull, who was wide open for three, and he knocked that down. Stuff like that, like I think that's a little bit just bad luck as well, but like part of it is just this is where Canada really misses a guy like Andrew Wiggins, which, by the way, speaking of coverage, like part of the reason you want coverage is like you get a story like what Josh Lundberg wrote at TSN, where he talked to multiple sources, and he said that Andrew Wiggins, it was ultimately his decision to pull out of the Olympics. And I know Canada was very vocal in sort of stating that it was Golden State's decision, but the reporting says otherwise. So, that's interesting. But regardless, like a fully committed Andrew Wiggins could have been in there, and obviously he can be a very strong rebounder. The reality is like it's a smaller team. Like it just is, like the strength of our team can also be the weakness of our team. The strength of our team is the guard play. You saw it every single game, but Shai gives you 20, right? Andrew Nembhard gives you 18 off the bench. Jamal Murray, we know he's got a really big scoring game in him too. Although I think it's really promising, like I said, that he's going to the rim over and over again, or going into the paint over and over again. He's just not really shooting when he gets there. RJ, Dylan, these guys are obviously all guards. Lou Dort with his pressure defense. But yeah, I mean, there is the risk of being able to switch and go smaller. And I think that Jordy, more than anything else, every game he goes into it and he's just like, all right, not if, but when Dwight Powell gets into a bit of foul trouble because he's overwhelmed, how am I going to manage the backup bigs? Every game you see him shuffling through, right? Okay, you know what? This time Kelly got an earlier look. Trey Lyles got an earlier look. But you know what? Ken Birch, he's getting in the game because, you're just finding just anything really to find a right combination between those three, and there just isn't one like clear-cut answer, which is also really nice to just see the creativity from Jordy. Not nice that they have so many options to juggle. But yeah, this is a smaller team. Like I don't know what to say. This is a smaller team. The other team was desperate. They're crashing the glass harder because they're desperate. It happens. It'll happen again. It just, make up for it with great guard play. Next one from Historical Inspiration. Where and when is the live show? Okay, so I can tell you both where and when in terms of the date. So the quarterfinal, I believe, will start on Tuesday. The timing and the draw has not yet been determined because the games have yet to be played. There's a game later today. There's more games tomorrow. So you will know by the weekend what the actual Olympic schedule is going to look like on the men's side for the quarterfinals. Canada had already made it, but again, it's just all about seeding and it's to be determined when and all that kind of stuff. But it'll be on Tuesday. And unless it's like the 5 a.m. slot, which honestly, who is scheduling games at 5 a.m., man? Please don't make us wake up at 5 a.m. on a Tuesday to watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and RJ Barrett and Dylan Brooks and all these guys. But like, we will have it on Tuesday, whenever the game is, unless it's at 5, because let's be honest, we're not all gathering at 5. I'm going to be in pajamas watching that game. And then the where will be at Annex Hotel, which is at... it's like basically Spadina and Bloor, a little bit west of that. Brunswick and Bloor is the exact intersection. If you're getting there by TTC, which I think is probably the best way to get there, you probably want to get off at Spadina, or you can get off at Bathurst, whatever you want. But yeah, it's a really, really cool hotel lobby spot that we can kind of get to. We're going to put out more details in an Eventbrite link. It's going to be free, so you can come through. Obviously, we'll have food and drinks if you want to purchase when you get there. But the most important thing is we actually just need people to respond to the Eventbrite when we put it out, because we want to just be able to manage numbers. Obviously, there is a capacity and everything like that, but I really, really wanted to sort of make this thing happen. And Annex Hotel, they're friends of the program, and they're huge basketball fans. I know they're probably watching in their lobby right now. And yeah, it's a really cool space too. So we'll put out a video, we'll put out an announcement, but it'll be on Tuesday and it'll be at Annex Hotel. I think it's also a really convenient location for people to get to because you can literally get right off of the subway and go there. I mean, you could drive there too if you want to. Brunswick is a one-way street though, so you probably had to go south and come north. But like, still, it's gonna be a really good time. And when we have more details, we will announce them. But I'm just really looking forward to getting together and celebrating the next game. Against who and against when, we don't know, but it'll be Tuesday and we will be there no matter what. Okay, let's take more questions. Akash says, is Nembhard guaranteed a closing lineup spot after this game? I think there is one closing lineup spot that is more up for grabs. Ideally, if everybody is not in foul trouble or everything like that, I would just like to close with the starting lineup. As is. I think that, in this game, though, they didn't necessarily play both Lou and Dwight Powell and Dylan Brooks until it was sort of like, offense-defense time. Part of that, I think they just didn't want to. I mean, they're just really sagging hard off of Lou Dort, and the passes weren't really there today. The ball movement just overall, I know Canada had 19 assists, but like just overall wasn't particularly strong. So I think, there'll be times where Andrew, especially when he's rolling like this, can give you that. I also do think that like this is also a hot performance from Andrew, right? Like it's not necessarily he's going to give us 8 for 10 all the time. But I mean, like either one of who's going between Jamal and Andrew, and if they need offense down the stretch, like I don't see why they wouldn't be in the game. But I think Jordy's managing crunch time like really, really well so far. He's managed to find rest. He's managed to go through foul trouble. He's managed to go through different matchups. He's managed to get buy-in from all his guys. Like I just can't say enough about the whole situation. But yeah, I mean, look, I think Andrew overall should be more prominently involved. I think what's been good is that like Jamal, especially the more that he touches the paint, the easier it is for other guys to play off of him, whether that's Andrew spotting up, whether that's like other guys rolling to the cup. Because I mean, I just think that nobody else in the second lineup's really touching the paint all the time. Andrew probably can do it, and we saw that quite a bit today. If you want to just make Andrew the primary playmaker off the bench, I don't mind that either. But ultimately, they're clearly showing that faith in Jamal right now, and I think that it's up to Andrew to find other ways to contribute. I like the way he was being aggressive on defense too. Same thing with Nikhil. Nikhil didn't score outside of one free throw, but he was super aggressive on the glass. It's just moments of physicality, right? Moments where you're at the rim and you finish with force. Like Trey again left another layup right on the rim. It's like stuff like that. It's just like, man, please, like guys, just play through it. Like play physical, play hard, and the second unit, it's been a mess, but like, there's enough optimism that they can make it out. There's just enough talent there that someone's going to have a good night. If everyone else is struggling, someone's going to have a good night. And basically, like, Jamal had, like, an okay game. Kem, didn't play enough. Trey Lyles, to me, just has been so underwhelming. It's actually, like, he's really frustrating me watching the games right now. Kelly is same kind of deal. Like, he hasn't really been in. The defense has just gone to a level that's, like, it concerns me as a Raptor fan. Like, I guess I was never promised anything defensively with Kelly, you know what I mean? But like defensively, man, it's really bad. Like he's not guarding his own spot, but he's also not helping, and he's also like you got to cover for him in pick and roll and ISOs. It's just a lot, right? But like he hasn't really clicked. These guys will eventually have good games. They're just like Andrew wasn't, having great games in the first 2 games either, but then he comes out for the third game and he has a really good one. And honestly, without him, we don't win this game. Like we needed every bucket he had. Let's keep going. Let's keep going for more questions because this is just fun to hang out. Any medical? Okay, all right. If Jamal on the Nuggets is Samwise, then who is he on this Canada squad? Much love from New Brunswick. Yeah, salute to New Brunswick, man. One of the provinces I think I made it drove through once trying to go to Gaspé, but I have not actually like physically set foot, I suppose, in the province. But it looks really beautiful. If Jamal on the Nuggets is Samwise, who is he on Team Canada? Who is Jamal Murray on Team Canada, man? He like a Mary right now. Yeah, he like a Mary. I guess Pippen will be Nembhard in this case, which I think is probably goofier than what Andrew actually is. Unless you ask him, have you ever taken a shorty to CNE, which our producer Alex has done so in person and actually got a good answer from him because I chickened out asking that question even though I wrote it. But I think he's more like a Mary right now. You know what I mean? Like, But I'm hoping that he's more like I'm hoping he's more like Haldir and the elves that show up at like Helm's Deep, and like one key battle he shows up and has like a huge performance. Like if the elves don't show up at Helm's Deep, like which it didn't even happen in the book in that way, but in the movies obviously that's kind of what happened. If they didn't show up, like the orcs would have washed them. So I think just for Jamal to have like one super big game and a super key moment, I think that's all we really want. In the meantime, I actually think his performance is okay. His defense has been good. Well, not good. His defense has been better. It's getting better and better. Although they do clearly every team attacks him on defense, but I don't think that they were exploiting him as much as previous games. Or he was giving more fight, climbing through screens and all that kind of stuff. And then I just think that like if he touches the paint and runs the offense, like I know we're lowering the bar a lot, but like that's what he has to give right now. And relative to what he has to give, I think he's given us that. Like, and he's not complaining either. All that's decent. Let's take three more if we have them. If we have them. Oh, here we go. We got $5. Let's go. These are my favorite, man. Why people just throwing money at the chat is amazing. This is from Top Shot. Are the dates for Malaga confirmed? IQ already out there? Could something like VC's charity game be reignited as a recruiting tool around Caravana? Honestly, you want to know what's similar to some degree against VC's charity game? Is this shirt that I'm wearing right now? Okay, you see it? Okay, for people watching, for people who are not watching on YouTube, which you can go, we go live quite a bit after games. Ball Don't Stop Pro-Am. We promoted it on the show last episode. We've been going for the last 3 years now in Toronto. Actually, for people on the West Coast, you still have your chance to go. They're going to go to Vancouver, I think, in 2 weeks. So go out and check out the West Coast Coopers. I know a lot of guys from Seattle are probably going to come up. That's always really fun, but it's a great event, man. It really is. It's a super packed, super hot gym. Just kind of how it should be, basketball in the summertime. A lot of great vibes. It's just great to see the basketball community come together. That's where Norman Powell was showing up. He had a good game. Not Dwight Powell. Sorry, I'm so focused on Canada. Chris Boucher was there. I told him before the game, I'm like, yeah, Chris, I need 50 from you. And he's like, I'm going to try to get it. And then he literally finished with 48 points, which is it's so amazing. The fact that like, I was just joking, man. I was just joking. I don't know if I actually needed 50, but like the guy actually finished with 48. That was cool. Bones Highland got MVP. He hit like probably 20 step back threes. I'm not even kidding. Super cool to see him. Haywood Highsmith. And I know it's like not like, okay, it's not Vince Carter at his prime playing, charity games, because like I think that's the gold standard for what community work could look like for players in terms of being able to do camps and all that kind of stuff. And then it's not like the current Raptors don't do camps and all that kind of stuff. Like Scotty does, he did his camps out in Mississauga, and Chris Boucher does like give backs and stuff like that in Montreal. There's plenty of events, but like big events like that, like if you actually want to come out to some, like it's already exists. Like the Ball Don't Stop Pro-Am is actually an excellent time, and we all had a great time. The Hello and Welcome crew down there as well, and you'll be seeing some content out of that. But like, yeah, I'm just here to tell you that some of that already exists. And again, why does it have to be like independent groups that have to see the value in basketball before like in this case the mainstream, and like the Raptors, for example, see the value in that, right? Like there is so much love for basketball in the city. There's such a big basketball community, but there's so few events. Like like we got to put on watch parties. Like that should already be a thing. Like anyway, regardless, I guess that's the whole like genesis of like even this podcast was like 8 years ago when I started doing reaction podcasts. I just looked around and I was like, how is there no post-game show about the Raptors? Like after a game, all I want to do is think about it, talk about it with people in a chat, or hear it on a podcast, or just be in a live setting. And like, I was just like, there's no post-game show. That's ridiculous. And I just started doing one. I recorded it on my phone. I started uploading. That is 8 years later. That's my whole life, basically, is doing these episodes. But like, everybody has a million opportunities to do this, right? You get infinite resources when you're at the bigger places. So anyway, that frustrates me in a separate degree. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I would love for the Raptors to put on more events. I really would. Any sort of events at all, quite frankly, that aren't just like pay through the nose to go to the game would be great. Because there's such a loyal fan base. There's such an amount of love for the team. And the only time we get anything remotely free is like, okay, we get to go to Jurassic Park, which at this point has become so sponsored out that like, it's, whatever. Yeah. And then in terms of like going to Spain and stuff like that, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, I know there's like a sanctuary, I think, over there in Spain that like the NBA players go to. I think that's where, Yeah, I think quickly has been out there. I think he also went to Milan afterwards or something like that. I don't know. I'm not really like that up on where these guys are, but like, yeah, like lots of NBA players, like an NBA, like an official NBPA kind of sanctuary out there. And yeah, I mean, lots of teams organize off-season workouts, right? Like we've seen obviously over the years, the Raptors have been playing a ton at Rico Hines runs in LA. Like, just that's kind of the same deal, but cooler, I guess, to go to Malaga as well. It's kind of like a nice, like, is it on the water? I've never been to Spain, but it looks beautiful. Yeah, but yeah, it's a nice kind of retreat. Just get sort of more people together. One person I would love to see is Jakob. Like, where has Jakob been? I mean, like, it wasn't at the runs in Toronto, wasn't at the runs in Vegas. Like, just Jakob, where are you, man? Even Pascal went to Austria as part of his Red Bull sponsorship and everything like that. He goes to Austria quite a bit. Even he went to Austria. Jakob wasn't there. So Jakob, where are you, man? But yeah, I think it's kind of like that. Next one from Michael. Another $5, man. This is sick. No comment. Just thirsting for a banter pod. Played frisbee against you once in 2016 at 7. We won at St. Mike's. Before all the Utes caught a case. Yeah. St. Mike's, private schools, super rich people. Yeah, cases will be caught. You know what I mean? But that was actually a super nice pitch. So salute to you, Michael. Unfortunately, yeah. Let me know actually in the chat. First of all, thank you for the $5, but let me know if I threw a touchdown or not in that game, because that is all I want to do is play frisbee and throw like long flicks down the field for touchdowns, because that's my absolute favorite thing to do in sports, and I haven't been able to do so. Unfortunately, our team disbanded. Whatever. People from high school just get too busy and grow apart and move to Hamilton. Whatever. But like, still, I miss playing frisbee, and that was sick. And yeah, I mean, banter pod, we'll get you one a month. It's really up to Jerome. You want the same mics? Whoa. All right, that's gonna be a discussion on the next banter pod for sure. But yeah, we'll have one for you next month. Like, we just once a month. We got to live some life first, have some stories. Allow Alex to get kicked out of a casino, and then we'll tell you some stories. Like, that's just how this thing goes. You gotta live more life before you get more life the album. So, last question here from Hey Kool-Aid. Trucker or dad hello and welcome hat? Yeah, you can get hello and welcome hats. I think it's hello and welcome hello and welcome.shop, something like that. Oh wow, we have a ticker. Whoa, for merch. Head to hello and welcome.show. Click the shop link. There you go. Wow, Jerome, look at the production, man. Look at us right now. This is amazing. Yeah, okay. I'll just say this: the dad hat somehow fit my gigantic head. And the trucker hat, oh my god, okay, all right. You know what? Neither hat fit my head. God damn it, man. Why do we have proof? How is this just on deck? Oh my god. Yeah, this is tough, man. Can we get this off the screen? We'll get the 3 stars. We'll get the 3 bars. Oh my goodness, man. That's insane. Yo, I should not wear hats, man. But I appreciate people giving me hats, because it's like a form of love, I guess. But like, yeah. Damn, that's crazy. Okay, let's get to the 3 stars. Then Alex Wong is going to pop in with the 3 bars. 3 stars for tonight's game. First star, I'm giving it to Andrew Nembhard. Awesome performance off the bench. 8 of 10 for 18 points. 2 of 3 from 3. 2 assists as well as steal. Obviously, he was more of like the shooting guard, I guess, off the bench. Jamal was one of the running point, but I thought when Canada's offense was stuck in the first quarter, he knocked down 2 threes, which is huge. He got to the rim a couple of times. I love the one where he ripped down the rebound and took it in transition to beat like 4 or 5 guys. Like, he's great when he plays fast, man. I mean, most people are great when they play fast, but like, seriously, he's really, really good. And I think I've been waiting on a performance like this from him, and we know he's got it in him. And if it wasn't for him today, Canada does not win. So, super huge. I like that he had one-on-one buckets too, because he's not like a guy who's like gonna bag you up. Like, he's not like Shai, for example, but like, he's got a bit of a bag. Like, he can get past a guy, go one-on-one and stuff like that. And especially when Shai was getting all the attention and it's boxing one, so everyone else getting single coverage. Like, Andrew, I thought, did a really good job of creating as well in the fourth quarter too. So that was huge. Knocked down that corner 3 with a foot on the line. He's your first star. Second star, I'm gonna give that to Shai. I mean, come on, man. Like, how is he not going to get the second star, man? 20 points, 9 of 13, arguably the first star. I didn't think he even had his best game today, right? Got bailed out by a couple foul calls. You know, I'm sure opposing teams are going to complain, but like 5 of 10. Once again, he only got 10 shots up, but, you know, still he's getting double teamed like crazy. Didn't get the assist today because the ball movement just wasn't there. I think Canada probably could have spaced out better and prepared for it a little bit better. Overall, offensively, it just wasn't a great flow to it. But I think credit to Spain's defense and their creativity as well, because they don't even have a dominant defensive player. Like, that's the thing with Spain. Like, I'm so impressed every time I watch them, even when they lose. Yeah, Shai's your second star, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal. And then your third star, RJ Barrett, Star J, once again, slow out of the blocks, right? A no ball movement meant like not a lot of chances for RJ, but you know, he got a couple post-ups, which I've been finding really intriguing. Just the opportunity to post them against smaller players like guards and stuff like that. Kind of one-on-one when you post RJ, like, it's nice, man. I just like it. I just really, really like seeing guards be able to post up. We had that with DeMar DeRozan quite a bit. We even had that to some degree with Kyle Lowry, which was funny. I mean, it's just hard for Kyle to post guys up because it's like who's smaller than Kyle. But like, yeah, and, you know, RJ had a couple post-up buckets, which he did in the last game against Australia as well. But that's just a nice perk. Like, most guards don't have a post-up game, right? And RJ had a little bit of that. He was able to score a couple times from that. Then as the game started flowing a little bit more and more, he was able to curl, get to his one-on-ones. I thought he took it strong, as he always does. Missed a couple of layups, but I think there was a couple putbacks in there too. So even the misses, I don't mind. And then, of course, the big three at the end there, man. The big three at the end, the 2 free throws. RJ Barrett, man, so happy you're a Raptor. 16 points today. Keep it going for Team Canada as well. You're a Gerald Henderson Award winner. Bro, who do you want, man? This whole team is a Gerald Henderson Award winner. What do you want, man? Alex Abrinas with 12 points, right? Who you want? Like, you want Padilla? I don't even know what his first name is, man. I gotta look up Padilla. God, what is his first name, man? It starts with a J, but I don't want to guess. Is it gonna be Jose? It's Jaime. Damn it. Okay, yeah, Jaime Padilla. Dario Brizuela with 17 points. Like, this whole team is a Gerald Henderson. I'm gonna give it to Dario. But yeah, I mean, yeah, man. It's always stressful playing this goddamn team. Someone say RJ's a great 6th and 7th man. What kind of team, man? Yo, if RJ's ever our 6th man, we winning the championship again. Are you kidding me? So that's come on, man. Okay, we gotta put a little bit more respect on RJ's game, man. Like, I think he's really figuring it out and rounding the corner. And maybe there's a lagging effect in terms of just like his reputation has not been strong, maybe from New York, and he was more frustrating. There's a lot more expected from him, but like, he's a really good player, man. How many young players, first off, honestly, think about this. How many young players in the league are that focused and that serious about their craft? Even the young stars, touch of unseriousness with a lot of them. You know, like the guys he got drafted 1, 2, 3 with, right? Obviously, he's not better than John Morant or Zion Williamson, but like, you tell me there's not a touch of unseriousness? You don't hear a peep of RJ. So I just want to give RJ a little bit more respect, man. He's not a first or second option on a championship team. Okay, we can apply that to like anybody on the Raptors right now. Like, cool. Like, that's just a terrible way to watch the game, man. Like, it's just not fun. Like, it really isn't. You know, like, it just isn't. Like, you would have not enjoyed a second of the whole We the North era because neither Kyle and DeMar are first or second options on a championship team. Like, you would have been miserable from 2015 when they won 48 games all the way up to 2018 when they won 59. And yeah, of course, they lost to LeBron a couple times or 3 times, and some of it was quite embarrassing. But if you didn't enjoy that, like, you're missing out on life, man. You really are. Okay, Barnes. Yeah, okay, you know what? You're right. Fine. Barnes can be first or second option. Cool. I'm not saying RJ's better than Barnes. God, what are we doing, man? Okay, yeah, okay. I'll take that back. Scotty can be potentially a first or second option in a championship team, right? But like, again, like, I'm not gonna try to limit RJ or put him down. This is ridiculous, man. Let's change the vibes. Let's change the vibes. Let's get producer Alex in here, and let's get some bars. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Why is your camera off, man?
Oh, I'm not allowed to have my camera on per Jerome.
Oh, okay.
We're keeping the camera off for this. We're letting Alex chill back, but you know, it's really about the voice and the bars, isn't it?
Yeah,
okay,
I
fair
just
enough.
wanna make a quick correction. You know, you were talking about the ball don't stop run, and you forgot to mention that Hamidou Diallo was also
Oh my
also there
goodness,
as well.
man.
So,
Yo,
yeah.
that's right. Amadou Diallo shirtless walking through the streets of Toronto taking pictures with fans. That was sick, man.
Yeah, for any fans that was able to pick up his towel rag, congratulations
Yo,
on that. So
you're wrong for that, man.
Yeah, so I got the 3 bars, but Lethal Weapon has been shooting blanks on his air pistol this week. So these bars are brought to you by ChatGPT.
Okay.
They're actually pretty good though. So here's the first one.
That's actually crazy, bro. You're really not beating the ChatGPT.
I got writer's block, man. So these are what would
All
SGA potentially write on his captions. So number 1 is Wancho on Netflix, but I'm the real hustle. He might got the script, but I bring the muscle.
Ooh.
Spain's Hollywood star, but I'm the main show. When I'm on the court, all that glitters gotta go. Hashtag hustle harder. Hashtag court kings. Yeah.
Wait, you tell me ChatGPT gave you this? What did you even write as an input, man?
I wrote Shai Gilgeous-Alexander used Thomas walk-up in an IG caption recently. What would he write to include a Spain men's basketball team player in a rap-style caption that's snarky? Please use Wancho, Hernan Gomez, and hustle.
That's actually crazy, man.
Yeah,
Yo, honestly,
That's scary.
I ran out of a free trial, so I barely got these bars in because I've been messing around with ChatGPT nonstop the last 24 hours.
Yo, how are English teachers like doing their job? Like, you know what I mean? Like, kids definitely be using ChatGPT for everything.
Honestly,
it's good.
AI is really scary because I think we could start using AI instead of having you rant about Canadian media for 20 minutes.
I don't know if that you can do that, to be honest, man.
Let me try that
I
next
feel like
time.
that's more organic, man.
Okay,
But
this one's pretty bad, but I want to read it to you. So
Okay.
next bar, Santi Aldama trying to bring that Euro flair, but I'm dropping buckets, leaving them in despair. This sounds like something I would write. That's beer break. Spain's got some talent, but I'm the one they fear. When
Okay.
I'm step on the court, it's game over. Make that clear. Hashtag too smooth. Hashtag next level.
Why do they hashtag
Yeah,
on their bars
that's-
every time?
that's
You
pretty
don't need
tough,
to
man.
Hashtag in a rap, I don't think.
That's pretty
Okay,
tough.
I got a couple Sergio Yules.
Nice. Okay, nice. Let's go.
Is this handle slick though? Handle slick like Sergio Yule, but my
He
game,
wasn't against Shai when he picked him like twice.
But my game ain't a joke. He might hit from deep, but I'm the one who leaves him broke. Hashtag outclassed. Hashtag too smooth.
Oh, right, because these are captions. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Can I
These are
read this?
killing me, man.
Okay, this one somehow incorporated former Spain players.
Okay.
Balling like Ricky Rubio with that smooth Euro flow. But I'm crossing up like Pau Gasol, slow and steady. Let's go. Hitting threes like Yule, splashing from the arc. But if I'm in the paint, Marc Gasol got the spark. What?
This is like a pro Spain.
Spain's got
rap.
the style, but I'm here for the show. They can keep the tapas. I'm just here to steal the glow. Hashtag glow up. Hashtag
my
style.
Okay, the hashtags could definitely use some work, man.
Dribbling like Rubio, but I ain't here to play patty cake. He can pass, but I'm the one who makes the earth shake. Hashtag earthquake.
Oh
That
my
was such
god.
a hibbity hop like.
Yeah.
80s rap.
Yeah.
Goodness, man. Who did they base the cheap? This is like the Will Smith bars from back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of mess with ChatGPT. I know
Yeah.
AI is terrible, but
Parents
Oh,
just
no.
don't understand.
Oh no. Oh no. Our society is not going to be in a good spot, man. That's not it.
it's actually really good, man.
No. Those hashtags really do need a lot of work. But yeah.
By the way,
wow,
where does all
okay.
this YouTube money go, man?
That's a question for us to discuss.
We'll take it to the
offline, buddy.
Oh, okay. Just
What do you
these
think
15
this
bucks
was,
are
man?
nice, man. Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
split it 3 ways. That's a $5 bill each way, man.
Bro, $5 each. Like I mean, not each, but I don't know. What can you even get with $1 in Toronto? Okay, you know what? This is getting off track.
Yeah,
but
wrap it up.
Appreciate you guys for coming along. Big thanks once again. You want to give some love to Ball Don't Stop since all 3 of us were there. I know you're such a big fan of Eckham.
Yeah, shouts to Eckham. Everybody follow Ball Don't Stop. Eckham's just put on such a great event,
Yeah.
and just really admire what that man does. And the event definitely passed the eye test. So shouts to Eckham, man.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say which Raptors executives that Alex was getting very close to and becoming friendly with, but like that was our Vegas thing, was like basically just getting really close to people and just making some friends and making some connections and being in the presence of players, executives, super famous people. We've been around lots of guys that like would be would be considered like, you know, you would be starstruck around. I've never seen Alex more starstruck than when Ekman was around. So this, I'm not even kidding,
we
man.
have actual footage evidence that may be released later of Alex a little shook in front of. Right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold
you
on.
know, Bobby Webster doesn't move me. Ekam Negra moves me.
Okay. There you go.
There you go. There you go.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah.
Yo, hold on. Last second though. There's people who have sent in money and we have not answered their question. I'm finally looking at the comments because you know this is not what I do. I just literally.
What do you mean
the
this is
pod.
not you do? You just looked at the comments and fought somebody.
Yeah, well, that's when I started looking at the questions.
What kind of hypocrite is this?
Yeah, I'm not even trying to. No, man. No
Here,
one.
we'll show this
Let's
one
not.
right now.
There we
For
go.
$6.99.
For $6.99, nice. Are we cheering for France to win by under 4? Also, Will, our Brody team needs an extra. Are you down? Honestly, I will come out to play Ultimate Frisbee. You're getting a man who is like not that willing to run, but I have a really good
team should be
flick.
basketball.
Yo, guys, 99
Oh.
cents. That's 33 cents each.
You don't want me on your basketball team, dog.
Yo,
I'm not a
33
winning
cents.
player. I take bad threes, and I'm not playing much defense. And once again, you're getting a man who's not that willing to run. So now there's someone else in the chat, man. Who said this? I'm looking at this for the first time, man. Philip
also-
White.
We'll go one more.
Yeah, I said-
Philip White. We need to
Yeah,
show
I
love
need
to
my 5
Phil
USD. Yo,
White.
these are USD as well. Yo.
Oh my God! Let's go to the win, baby.
Oh, yo. I'm putting these 5
Not so
USD on
fast, Alex.
Scarface or Scarjo or whatever. Philip White. Okay, we're going to put Ben Mathurin on the team. Does that solve the zone offense issues? I think... I don't know. I think for Ben, I mean, I think he'll be involved in future teams, but he's got to show me that he's interested in something other than taking the shot every time. Because right now, it's a little bit... He's like a stronger Jordan Clarkson to me right now. And I think that, yeah, I mean, like, obviously more offense is going to help solve some of the zone offense issues. But I think what Canada was having more difficulties with was how many different zones. I think against standard zones, Canada actually did a really good job in the first half. Second half, though, they started throwing more varieties, shifting between, like, 3-2 zone and also, like, the box and one. And that's where Canada wasn't even able to get the initial sort of, like, downhill action. And I think probably, honestly, more than anything else, it's probably a big screener and roller that would probably solve some of those type of issues for me. But... You know, weirdly enough, my answer is I think actually Zach Edey might do a better job with this. But in any case, we're done. Thanks everyone for listening. Follow Hello and Welcome Podcast wherever you listen. Come to the live show next Tuesday. We'll announce more details. Follow our accounts to see those. And yeah, go Canada, man. I'm hype, and I'll be watching France versus Germany, and I'll be rooting, I suppose, for France to win by a small margin. So appreciate everybody, and this has been the Hello and Welcome Podcast presented by Betway.